What's up guys? It's Irina Z, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create an auto webinar funnel. I know a bunch of people, are running offers to a webinar, and the whole webinar thing could seem complex, but it really isn't. And I think the cool part about an auto webinar is you don't have to be there, right? Like, you don't have to be there present time running your webinar. You could be doing whatever you are doing, being out and about, or say you're beginning and you still have a job, so you're at your job and you don't have time to run webinars, live webinars during the day, so you want to run an auto webinar. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set that up. So follow along. You guys can pause this whenever you are watching it, and also just keep an eye out in the comments below. In the description below, you'll be able to access a free webinar, also some other free freebies for you to grab below, as well as a follow-up funnel sequence to send follow-up emails to your customers. So just keep an eye out on those below, and make sure that you subscribe. So let's just dive into it, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this, right? I'm going to make this super simple because I like simplicity. I don't like when things are super complicated, and I think a lot of the time, you'll find something online and you think it's easy, and then it ends up being this whole complicated process. So let's make this simple. We're going to go and we're going to add a new funnel. So from our dashboard, we're going to go ahead and add a new funnel. You could do that here. You could also do that right here. And you could do it right here. We'll just click this plus new funnel, and we're going to come into the cookbook. What's cool about the cookbook is that it actually gives you different templates essentially that you could use to have a webinar funnel. So there's a webinar funnel right here. They also have an auto webinar funnel right over here. We're going to go ahead and select Classic Funnel Builder. We're going to build this from scratch. So right over here, you'll be able to go ahead and select Host a Webinar. So you'll go ahead and choose this option. And we're going to be hosting a webinar replay. Essentially, we're going to be hosting an auto webinar. Okay, so we'll choose this right here. And we're going to give this a name. And you could add a group tag to it. And then go ahead and build the funnel. Now this webinar it's going to consist of 4 different pages right over here. So we'll have our registration page, we'll have our countdown page, we'll have our broadcast room, and we'll have our replay room. All right. So we're going to want to go ahead and choose the auto webinar pages for this. So we'll go ahead and choose the registration page. And we'll be able to select any of these templates that are available, which is really cool, because if you're not like super designy and you're not, a graphic designer, you don't know how to do stuff, like these are created by some of the best graphic designers out there. So you can just grab some of these templates and customize them to yourself. And just keep in mind that sometimes when there's a lot of stuff on the page, it's not that great. You want it to be more simple. And that's the name of the game. I think, simplicity converts better. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm just going to go ahead and select this template, which is a super simple one towards the bottom of the page. But you could select whatever you want, or, build it completely from scratch. It's based on what you want to do because it's your funnel at the end of the day. So here is the registration page. The next page is the webinar countdown page. So for this page, you could have, a regular countdown. You could say it's going to be starting soon, or you could use this kind of like as a bridge page, like a little bit of an introduction about yourself and what they'll be seeing in the webinar. I like it for that because it's going to give somebody a little bit of a preview of who you are before they jump into your auto webinar. So it's a great place for you to introduce yourself. So you could go ahead and select any of these templates. Again, since this one has the video and this one has a video, we'll just go ahead and grab this first one. And then we're going to want to select the webinar broadcast room for the next page. So here we have the webinar broadcast room. We could select any of these guys. You customize them. You could add chat bots to them. You could add, Facebook chats towards the bottom. You could do whatever you want. Which is really cool. So for this, to keep it simple, let's just see what we have here. Let's just go with this one, just picking the first ones. And then we have the replay room. So the replay room you'll want to use if you're, sending an email sequence and you want to drive traffic back into your into your funnel with maybe a different offer or whatnot, you might want to just use the replay room for it versus that main broadcast room. Especially if you're trying to make it seem like your auto webinar is a live webinar, you may want to use the replay room that you send, with your emails for them to redirect them back into the funnel. So we'll just go ahead and select the same page. And now you have essentially put together a webinar, an auto webinar funnel. But the whole name of the game is now you want to customize it. You don't want to basically take everything that's in here and just, hey, boom, take this link and launch it. Like, that's not going to be the jam that you want to be a part of. You want to definitely customize it. You want to add your own domain. You're going to want to, go in here, make sure you customize this webinar title, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to add these contacts that register for the event, if you want to go ahead, and right here you could have the times, right? So they could choose when they want to watch it. And then if they miss it, they'll be able to go ahead, and get that replay via email. So right here under integrations, you could select the integration to add the people that register for your webinar to an email list, and then connect that email list to a follow-up funnel sequence where they'll be able to catch the replay, and you could interact with your with people that registered for your webinar. So this is the webinar registration page in a gist, okay? And then, so right here, for example, I'll just show you guys. You'll want to go ahead, select the list you want to add them to. We're going to add them to a list. We're going to add them to our, 1, 2, 3, 5 list. So now every time somebody registers, they'll be added to the 1, 2, 3, 5 list, which that 1, 2, 3, 5 list is going to be connected to our follow-up sequence. And that follow-up sequence is going to, talk to them. It's going to get to know them. They're going to get to know you, and you're going to send them the replay, and so on and so forth. So then on the next page, this is your webinar countdown page. You could also use this as a bridge page. And setting it up as a bridge page, right, like right here, you'll put your video to, your YouTube or your Wistia or your Vimeo. You'll put your video right here, and you could introduce yourself. You could just give them a little bit of preview, like, hey, this is where you're going to see in this webinar. I'm super excited that you registered. Like, welcome. My name is so-and-so, and, we'll see you on the next page, or we'll see you on the webinar. Then here is the countdown to the webinar. And here are the webinar dates and times. Okay, so say they selected 4 o'clock over there, it will say 4 o'clock, and it would say, here's the countdown, and then they could add it to a calendar by clicking this. And then you could also use this optional area where, you could send them to an order page, for example, or you could send them somewhere else, or you could completely delete this portion of it. It's totally up to you how you want to customize that. So for example, I'll just go ahead and say that because we're not sending them to an order form before that. They'll come onto this page and they'll know that, hey, like, my webinar is starting at 4 p.m. and this countdown will work. So just because we're just previewing this isn't, real time countdown or anything like that, but this is what the countdown will look like, and a little bit of an introduction from you, basically what they're going to see in the auto webinar. Now, the next part of this is going to be the actual broadcast room. The broadcast room, a couple different things you could do. You could literally just throw a YouTube video in here and make it look like a webinar. Okay, you could run one live broadcast from YouTube and leave that live YouTube broadcast link in here. Okay, you can put in a Wistia video in here. You can do whatever you want. You can put a Vimeo video in here. So right here is where your webinar will be. And then obviously, like this, we could just say live webinar, and they'll be able to go ahead and watch your presentation and then purchase your product, whatever your offer is. They could go ahead and select the purchase at the bottom here. The other cool thing that you should note is you could actually set this to appear at a certain point of your webinar. So if you block, the pause, and they can't pause the webinar, and at like say minute 22 of your webinar, you want your offer to appear, you could have this button come in with a delay, and you could do that right over here, send them to the URL that you want, and then under the advanced animations, you could give it a delay of say, 22 minutes. I want my button to come in, and save the page. So then when somebody is loving the hell out of your webinar and they're sitting here and they're engaged and they're watching this and they're downloading the workbook, and then 22 minutes into it, they're going to see this button come up. And at 22 minutes on your webinar, you can say, hey, by the way, there should be a button at the bottom where you'll be able to get so-and-so offer. So that's really neat. And this seems like a live webinar because it says, do not close this window, the presentation will end. So it's perceived as a live webinar, but it is actually an auto webinar because, a lot of the time you have to understand, you're busy, you have stuff going on, you have a family, you have, other engagements. You can't just be doing live webinars every hour, right? So this would be the perfect time for you to, take advantage of the auto webinar feature in ClickFunnels. So after you've set this up, you'll come over to the replay room, and the replay room looks just like the live room in this case because this is the template we selected, limited time replay, and you could just go ahead and have the same page, and this would be the page that goes out to people to catch the replay of your webinar. So I think we covered it all here. The other thing that you're going to want to do, see right here, you're going to want to change your webinar registration, your domain. Instead of using the ClickFunnels extension, the subdomain, you're going to want to use your own domain. So for that, you're going to want to make sure you've already, added a custom domain to your ClickFunnels account. So for example, we'll just select one that we have added in here, save and update the settings. And as you can see, it has our domain, and then it has our path after it. So it's a little more professional, especially, for advertising reasons and purposes. So you don't get flagged or anything like that in case. It's always better to use your own domain, to use everything kind of branded to you. It's just a better way to brand yourself online. It's going to make you look way more professional. So make sure you add your domain on the settings level, and now you're ready to drive traffic to your webinar funnel. So keep in mind that in addition to this, what you're going to want to do is set up a list in Actionetics, okay? An email list. So then your registrants are getting added to the list. You can also go ahead and set up a follow-up funnel sequence where you could actually grab the freebie that I have below the video, which has like a 5-day follow funnel email sequence. You could grab it below. It'll just share it into your account, and you'll be able to go ahead and email your your registrants, and then you could set up another email list. Anybody that, for example, the webinar broadcast room, anybody that saw the page but didn't stay on the page, customize it, say they missed the webinar or they didn't finish watching it. You'll be able to segment those visitors and put them on a different list and send them the replay. You could do a lot. There's a lot of customization, but to keep it simple, all you have to do is follow along with what I just showed you on the screen. Then go ahead and set up that Actionetics email list. Make sure you connect the email list to your auto webinar registration page, and then you connect that email list to a follow-up sequence, and in that follow-up sequence, make sure that you drop the replay link so that your visitors could go ahead and have that replay link, and they'll be able to, say they had to hop off or something happened, their power went out, their computer died, they'll be able to go back on and watch the replay in the future. So guys, you are officially ready to launch your auto webinar. I suggest you get started right away, and what I'm actually going to do is, so you could follow along exactly as I just showed you, I'm going to actually drop the link to this exact auto webinar in the comments below. So you'll be able to go ahead and use this in your account as well if you wanted to follow exactly as I just demonstrated on the screen. So hopefully you guys got some value out of this. Please feel free to share this. Obviously comment below. If you have any questions or anything like that, you could reach out to me at support@irenaz.com. You can also go ahead and check me out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, IrenaZ, ZEE, and take advantage of the freebies below this video and make sure that you subscribe and like the video. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on future trainings.